Hi, everybody. It's been a while. See, I'm itchy. I'm twitchy. You know what? We're just that way. It's
Well,
fine.
let's try not. I mean, there's been a lot of pollen this season.
We're
We'll
gonna,
try not to.
but we can't. We're not gonna.
More than
promise
likely,
anything.
we'll be touching our
Yeah,
face.
we're very twitchy. Anyway, so it's been a while, and we have both been sick, and it was horrible. There's something really bad going around, so I don't get it.
Plus
Yeah.
the pollen, like I said.
Plus the pollen has not been very friendly.
And the cat hair.
And the cat hair.
And the throat.
And the dog hair, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, today was a big vote.
A big vote, yes.
A big vote in the House of, in Congress.
Right. And this is likely to be Trump's signature legislation. And, you know, if it's anything like his last term, only legislation. Because this is the only thing he really cares about.
So here's the deal. And the reason we're here is because let's talk about Andy Harris.
Oh, right.
So he's feeling pressure. So let me tell you, first of all, let's talk about.
I mean, you share your theory.
What the bill is.
Okay.
Let's talk about what the bill is first.
All right. So I'm going off of what
they passed.
Well, this is the House Budget Committee calculations that the Democratic staff put together. And this is based on the Joint Committee for Taxation tables. And there's a specific table too, if you're interested. We're going to send the link out to this. What was that link called?
So if you want to look to see how it's going to devastate your own community, go to bit.ly/MAGA murder budget. Type in your address if you don't know who your rep is. Well, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
Well,
I thought you did.
Another influencer did.
Wow.
But so I can't take credit. But anyway, it is the MAGA murder budget. That's what we're calling it because that's what it is. It's gonna. Republicans in the House just voted to kick millions of people off healthcare to transfer that wealth to the top 1%.
So the Joint Committee on Taxation is the committee in the House of both Republicans and Democrats. So the Republicans know about these statistics. They just don't talk about them.
Right, because it would hurt. It would kick their ass hard.
So this is yet another bill.
This is what they passed.
This is yet another bill that has massive tax cuts for the wealthy.
Yeah.
$7 trillion. Right?
The massive transfer
and
of wealth.
And it primarily benefits billionaires and large corporations.
Yes.
It's an average annual tax cut of $315,000 for the richest 0.1% of Americans. 0.1%.
So if you make over 300 and something thousand.
330 plus million people.
You get a tax rate.
0.1%, right? So this is what they mean by the rich keep getting richer. Absolutely true. 100%. This is why you feel things are rigged, right? Because they have all the power, they have all the money, and that's kind of thanks to how much money they can contribute in secret to
buy them
political operatives, politicians, and that's that's Democrats and Republicans.
True.
I mean, I know corporate America tries to give evenly. A lot of them, you know, I'm not talking about the villains, but just regular corporations, you know, that.
Let's not lose track.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
okay.
I've seen through my own eyes that they try to give evenly to both the Republicans and the Democrats, and more specifically on committees that help their specific
bottom line
corporation, right? What they do,
right?
So, like, you know, banking would go to the banking committee and give to those people, right? But on Republicans and Democrats on that committee, right? And whoever's in charge at that given time would get the most or greater amount of money. Anyway,
so break it down for him.
Nearly half the net benefit from extending the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would go to the top 5% of households. It doesn't really say. I guess that's people that make over 500,000 or thereabouts. I'm not quite sure. I have to look that up, but most of us don't make that kind of money, right? You know, we're more or less living on a fixed income and other part-time work that don't, just basic jobs that don't pay a whole lot, like, as retirees are bound to do. And how are they doing this? Well, they're doing it by cutting our healthcare, right? Which everybody now has come to rely on more and more, right? It's a whole other subject that we can go on and on about, but basically there's $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid. And that is the largest in U.S. history. It threatens coverage for 72 million people. So,
and in Harris's own district, there's like 150
right,
or something.
It says right here,
people that are on.
It says
Medicaid,
there's more than that. There's 196,500 people rely on Medicaid in this district, in Andy Harris's district.
But let's go further.
And that's of how many people are in this district? I can't remember. It doesn't say. Right? I
don't know, but it's a big percentage. But I want to talk about Andy Harris for a minute. He's feeling pressure from all of us, which is great because he deserves it because he's a big fat liar. The other thing is, he behind the scenes, and I'll post the article in the link in the video when we're done, and I can edit it real quick. But I want to tell you that he has been saying there is not enough cuts to Medicaid.
Yeah,
there's not enough, and he's standing behind because there's fraud and abuse. Okay, well, because everybody's going to say, yeah, well, fraud and abuse, but no, he's lying. So first of all, show proof of that. That's not happening, and he just wants to rob from the poor and give to the rich. That's what he's doing. So he's going to kick many people who are dependent on Medicaid. They work. Some people have disabilities. They can't work. So they're saying, oh, you have to work. We don't care if you have no legs. You have to, whatever. They're just liars. And they don't care. That's why we call it the MAGA murder budget, because that's what it is.
So can you look up while I continue what the actual vote was?
Totally.
Because the blueprint for the budget was 217 to 215.
Hold on. Yeah, I can look up the roll call. But you know what? I totally lost my train of thought. Andy Harris is such a coward that he just voted present.
He just voted present.
So by not taking a choice, he made a choice.
Right.
And the choice is for billionaires, and who cares about people that can't afford health care? He gets his free from us, right? So he's going to talk out of both sides of his mouth.
Well, he can play it either way, right? Like he can say,
don't let him do it.
It wasn't strong enough. The largest tax cut in history for rich people wasn't strong enough.
He's never going to say that.
Well, he can say that to his Tea Party folk. And if you remember who the Tea Party was, you can check back.
Billionaires. Right.
Well, no, the Tea Party is like, we should do a whole other thing on what the Tea Party is. But whatever, you can look up what the Tea Party is. Specifically look for what Jane Mayer says about it. She's a New Yorker writer. Anyway,
he voted present.
He voted present because now he can play both sides, right? Like he can say to his Tea Party people, I voted for more cuts, but he can also, like, if he needs to, for political reasons during the re-election, he can say I didn't vote for it, right? Because he's starting to see that we're more activated here in MD1, where this hasn't been happening before, right?
That's right. Well, and also by voting present, he's not voting to protect people to keep their health care. So don't let him get away with it. Call him out, tag him on social media, and go, why are you such a coward?
So here's some other things.
Be relentless.
That will happen. 20 million people who rely on the Affordable Care Act are at risk of losing it because of the funding reductions. And let's see, what does it mean for MD1? It means that
I have it pulled up here too.
84,000 children under the age of 19 and 16,000 seniors over 65 are going to potentially, those are the folks that rely on Medicaid, and what do they anticipate?
Yeah, a lot of seniors too, for housing.
Insurance costs for 30,000 people who have coverage under the Affordable Care Act will increase, their premiums will increase 113%, which means that's about $2,400 more that they'll be paying, which actually affects us directly because we're in between not working, like retiring at a young age, at a younger age, and we can't get Medicare for another, I don't know, 10 years. That'll affect us personally. Our insurance premiums are going to go up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to do there because they're already pretty expensive.
And people that have, you know,
like
this is how homelessness starts too. People can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
So they can't pay their mortgage because they have to choose
between
to live or die, right?
Yeah.
It's also going to raise food costs and cost of higher education. So they basically just put the middle class and poor on a platter and lit it on fire, and they don't care, and they're just smoking their money.
Like what is the purpose of this cruelty? I mean, why? I don't understand it. Just for, you know, another freaking $240,000 when you already have more money than most people. Yeah. Our entire district of people could spend in a lifetime. I mean, why such cruelty? I mean, my theory is that the more money you have, the more you're out of touch with the reality, the more sociopathic you become, right? There's not very many billionaires that are so altruistic that they're willing to give up even just a little bit of their income to taxes. And it's just cruel. It's just unreasonably cruel.
Yes. You know what? We should...
what else is going on? So it's $230 billion in reductions to nutrition assistance programs like SNAP, affecting over 40 million Americans, including children, seniors, and veterans. You know, so these folks,
it's a real big FU,
you know, that were born into poverty or now retire into poverty or are veterans and can't work anymore, rely on food assistance, right? So all these people, and it's a pittance compared to the subsidies that are given to billionaires in tax breaks over and over again for the last 40 years. This is what they want to do every time. And once that's done, they don't really do much more legislation than that. They don't care as long as they got their little piece, you know? And it ain't much comparatively to what they get in a tax cut is, you know, twice the amount that most households make earning 2 incomes, maybe 3 times as much.
Check this out on higher education. About 1 in 3 undergraduate students receive Pell Grants, including 7,273,000 students in Rep. Andy Harris's district, which helped make college more affordable. And he just said, we don't care about you.
Yeah.
Because I'm voting present, so I can talk out of both sides of my mouth, because I'm a big liar.
I mean, there's Washington University or college up there in Chestertown. There's an HBCU south of here. There's University of Maryland everywhere. I mean, you know, people rely on this money to go to college.
Yeah, when he keeps saying fraud and waste. Do you know who's the fraud and waste? Andy Harris is the fraud and waste.
Yeah.
We pay for his health care for free.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it's true. Like,
it's ridiculous. They say, "Oh no, you don't want to be in the government." But they're all in the government.
Yeah, well, congressmen never vote to decrease their own health care, and they have premium health care.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
compliments of us.
Gold standard. You know?
Yep.
What else? So $330 billion in cuts targeting education programs like Pell Grants, school lunches, and Head Start.
Yep.
Economic consequences. The budget relies on optimistic economic projections, assuming growth of 2.6%. They always tout that tax cuts lead to economic growth, and they never do. Never do. Find me the proof. It never happens.
Right.
Never happens.
Right.
This is the old trickle down
Bullshit.
economic theory that started up
It's
more or
total
less
bullshit.
in Reagan's era, you
Right.
know, and they've been pushing this BS for 40 plus years now. And aren't you tired of it? You know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I used to be Democratic, but they don't care about the working class anymore. And that's just simply not true at all. Yes, they take money, but they also say, well, we take money because they take money. And how's that? That's BS. You know, we should hold Democrats' feet to the fire on that. Nothing's going to change until we get that changed. But yeah, I mean, corporate Democrats who take constant money from people.
Yeah.
It needs to go. We need to get these elections publicly funded, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care, like, if corporations feel that they have free speech, you know, that they should do this. Free speech that overwhelms the political environment, something needs to happen, right? Like, how do we fix that? I think we've tried in other ways that have worked before. I think we can have limits. You know, we need to get rid of this super PAC idea where people can, you know, give unlimited amounts of money, you know, as long as they don't coordinate with campaigns, which is total BS. They totally do. I mean, look at the message of Republicans. They're all in lockstep because of coordination through organizations like Americans for Prosperity or the Federalist Society, which, you know, if you look who's behind that, it'd be very concerning for most folks, you know. Talk about the separation of church and state and that kind of thing. You know, these are very right-wing evangelical, sometimes denominations out there, two in particular, that are, you know, really going hard on corporate freedom and religious freedom and you know, mostly tax cuts for the rich.
They're absurd.
So,
and they're using religion to do it. Not everybody, but
I mean, what's the ultimate outcome of that?
Not
I mean,
notice.
they want to have all the power in the country, and it's just about power. Really, is what it's about. It's about male power, patriarchal power.
So Andy Harris,
if you want to call it that, which is a thing, man. Don't discount that. It's a real thing.
So Andy Harris, you're vulnerable, dude.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm here for it all, Terry.
I mean, we're gonna find hopefully a really good candidate, and we're gonna volunteer. We're gonna go out knocking on doors, especially up in those northern parts of the county that tend to lean more toward not the county, the district, toward Andy Harris and that sort of thing. You know, we got people don't believe it, but you know, there are a lot of liberals on the Eastern Shore.
There are,
and you know, if those folks are over time more and more ignited than they already have been. You know, we had nearly 1,000 people show up for our empty chair town hall. I mean, that's gotta. And if all those people come out to help elect a progressive candidate who is, well, we're going to push them not to take corporate money, but that candidate, if we will work for, if a candidate looks to small dollar donations to run
we'll get
on a progressive slate, we're 1,000% behind that person. So, you know, stop pussyfooting around with, you know, trying to feel out and poll
who are you talking to?
You know, other potential candidates that are out there trying to get, you know, get into the political scheme of things.
Balls to the wall.
You know, you're not going to win, because that idea of the Democratic Party polling and talking down to people and, you know, making sure that it's not, you know, that it's almost winnable. Listen, we've worked on campaigns that didn't look like they were winnable, and they won. And they won because people were out there, and it was truly grassroots.
Oh God!
People were out there working their butts off.
Yeah,
Carolyn Menjivar
in California. She had what
was the other district before? Wait, CD12, I think it was.
No, they're
24.
25.
25. CD25.
Talking about Katie Hill, But Carolyn Menjivar had nothing, and she was up against a corporate Democrat who had put millions of dollars into this race, and we went out grassroots, small dollar donations, and she kicked his ass. It was awesome.
So listen,
It can be done.
The parties suck. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And everybody has a range of issues, right, that they're concerned about or even passionate about, right? But if you're blue collar, you need to really, really research what the Republicans have actually done for you. I mean, it's not, just because they're out there with this sort of machismo of WWE fantasies,
True.
and this absurdist view of men, it's absurd, it's like ridiculous. You gotta like at least come to reality. And this is where we're going to try to help and educate, right? Because a lot of people don't know about this stuff. A lot of people don't even know which party is for or against abortion, for instance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So contact us. If you have questions, contact us. And if we don't know the answer, we'll find the person who does for you.
Republicans are totally for abortion. They just pretend like they're not. They just pay cash for all their miseries.
Wow. Okay. I mean, some do,
and
for
they
sure.
use it
I mean,
for political gains. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, most of these folks. I mean, there's even a culture of con right now. Like hustling by any means necessary to enrich yourself, right?
Yeah.
Most people feel like or try to do that, but they can't do that, right? So they have to work, and they have to work, and they have to work.
I think that the common,
which is good. That's honorable.
The common goal of all people, right? Or the common theme, I would say, is people have hearts, right? They can be MAGA, can be most do. I can think of one, maybe in the White House that probably doesn't, but anyway. We have hearts, right? We're human beings. So it can be MAGA people have that. Republicans have it. Democrats have it. Liberals have it. Independents have it. Whatever. We all pretty much want the same things.
Yeah.
I think we can agree that we all want our freedom, right? Yes. I think we can agree that the government should be telling us what to do, right? Yes. I think we can agree that we want the best for our families, the best opportunities to be able to thrive, to be able to get a good paying job, to work hard and live our lives. That's what most people want. And so you can connect on that level, right? What politicians do is they go in and trigger emotions to get you angry, not at them, but at each other, so they can keep gaining more power and stripping away our rights. So it's time to come together. I won't judge you. I'll never judge you. If you want to fight fascism, come on down.
Big one.
I don't care who you voted for in the past, what your thoughts are. But if you are pro-democracy, you want to be able to take care of your family and those types of things.
Oh, and how about due process?
I welcome you with open arms.
Where people are just, taken off the street
yeah.
for protesting.
Yeah.
That's our right.
Yep.
We can do that.
Yep.
Or just taken away without any due process at all, just picked up and shipped off, right? Everybody, whether they're a citizen or not, whether they're in this country illegally or not, is afforded due process. And you know that the ghoul, Stephen Miller,
oh my God,
who works for Trump, who's doing all this, crazy stuff, this fire hose of cruelty, he's trying to get rid of habeas corpus, which means get rid of due process. And just basically that means all of us are at risk now.
That's right.
We could be at risk for, saying what we believe.
Yeah.
Or they could go after somebody like Trump's going after Bruce Springsteen, which is just a stupid ploy, but Bruce Springsteen
is personal.
Come on. If you didn't know Bruce Springsteen wasn't working class liberal, where have you been all your life?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Have you listened
this
to
guy,
the lyrics?
This is why I used to go. I saw this guy like, I don't know, 5-6 times back in the 80s. In fact, we found out I had just moved to California at this time. We found out we were at the same concert at the LA Coliseum in 1985. It was amazing. Like,
all right,
the Coliseum was
all right, let's not. We're getting off track. We're getting way off track.
He's sort of like, a more relatable Bob Dylan, and he stuck with it, whereas Bob Dylan just kind of got old and lonely.
Is the BOTUS.
The BOTUS? Explain
Yeah,
that.
the boss of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The BOTUS.
The BOTUS.
That's not yours.
No, I took that from somewhere. Just
Yeah.
leave me alone, Andy. Just say good job and move on. Okay?
I'm like, wow, that's genius. I keep thinking, oh, wow, that's genius.
I am a genius because
You
I
are,
know
you know,
I
you
know
are a
what
genius.
parts to grab. So I mean, I get it. All
Yeah,
right. So
all right.
over and out, people. Call Andy Harris. Let him know how you feel. Let him tag him on social media. Tell him we see through his BS with his little present vote.
Yeah.
And we're not going to let him talk out of both sides of his mouth.
Cool, man. Peace, love, and rock and roll.
Okay, that's stupid, but whatever.